guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm very sorry if the lighting is out right now. The UK is currently experiencing Storm Claudia, so it's absolutely delightful outside. So if you can hear raindrops on the window, that is why. It's a storm. I can't do anything about it. I'm very sorry. So for today's video, I thought that I would do a romance book guide of what I would recommend if you are someone who wants to get into the romance genre, or even if you've read romance before and you're just looking for some new recommendations, then I thought I would make this to help you out and to go through some books that I really loved. I am a romance girly through and through. If a book hasn't got romance in it, I struggle. So romance is my favourite genre, as you can tell. And I also love a romance if I am reading a fantasy book. Again, it has to be romantasy because your girl needs romance in the book. But if I'm reading a romantasy slash fantasy are just so heavy, and there's a lot to understand with the world building and all the characters, and all the characters have got funny names that you can't pronounce, as you can see from all my other videos where I try and pronounce the characters and get them always wrong. So I like to break up my reading with romance books because I find that romance books are just such easy reads. They're always not that long. They're usually about 300 pages. They're a nice little like filler book, you know, where you haven't got to think too hard and it's just cutesy. So I thought I would do some of my favourite romance books, or just some romance books that if you're wanting to get into the genre that might help you out a bit, that aren't too in your face. Okay, I'm gonna say it. My favourite romance author, I said it, is Abby Jimenez. This series particularly, I absolutely loved, although being truthful, I haven't read this one yet, so I'm not talking about this one. But these two, I absolutely love Abby Jimenez because I feel like she does romance so well. They're so easy to read, they make me giggle, they make me smile, they make me kick my feet. And this series especially, again, I haven't read the third one, but these two I absolutely loved, and I would recommend anyone to read because they're just so good. So the first one in the series is The Friend Zone, which actually wasn't my favourite in the series, but you kind of have to read this one to get to this one. I mean, they're interconnected standalone, so you actually don't, but I would recommend reading them in order. So Friend Zone is about the female main character, who is Kristen, and the male main character, who is Josh, and they are both helping out with their best friend's wedding. So Kristen is the maid of honour and Josh is the best man, and that is how they meet. Kristen is currently in a relationship and he is in the military. So Kristen is living at home on her own when she experiences, I don't think it's a break-in from what I can remember, but just like odd people in the area that are trying to get in her house or like trying to break in or whatever. So Josh says, not having that, you're living on your own. If you're not gonna move into like a hotel or something or stay with friends, then I'm gonna move in with you. And that's where it begins. I really enjoyed this one. As I said, it wasn't my favourite in the series, but I still really enjoyed it. And there is a massive plot twist in this book, which romance books don't really have plot twists. So this one got me, I'm not gonna lie, but the plot twist in this book then leads you on to this book. So I can't really talk too much about this book without spoiling what happens in this book. But I would definitely recommend, really love Abby Jimenez. To be honest, I'd recommend any Abby Jimenez books. Also, on the theme of Abby Jimenez, this was the first book that I ever read of Abby Jimenez, which is Part of Your World. Again, I really loved this series. Again, well, most romance books are interconnected standalones, so that means that you can read them in any particular order. It's just that in the following books they bring up the older characters, so I kind of like reading from the start to the finish because it means that these characters will be in the next book and then the next book, and you know, and I kind of love that it kind of gives you a bit more into the story. This book is about Alexis, who is the female main character, and the male main character is Daniel, and they meet because Alexis is driving through Daniel's hometown when her car breaks down, I want to say. So Daniel helps to repair the car, and then they go their separate ways and they meet up in a bar like after the car situation, and they end up having a one-night stand, and then they realise that they really like each other. However, there is an age gap. So Alexis is 10 years older than Daniel, so she believes that it's ridiculous, and Daniel's like, age is just a number, it doesn't matter. I absolutely loved this. If you didn't want to read this series first, then I read this series first and I absolutely loved it. Again, go and read any Abby Jimenez book, but I would recommend researching the series and which ones are first in the series, vice versa, because you can, although you can read them out of order, I would recommend reading them in order. So that's Abby Jimenez, my absolute fave. Okay, so a new author for me this year is Alex Astor. Put it this side because there's more space this side. Alex Astor. So Alex Astor is actually a fantasy author, or romantasy author rather. I actually haven't read any of her other things, although I do have them on my shelf. So I've got the Light Lark series, but I haven't got around to reading it yet. However, when I seen this one in Waterstones as a special edition, you guys know, I had to pick it up, and I got my partner to get it for me for my birthday this year because it just looks cute. It looks cute. Summer in the city in New York. I thought this is going to be a cute read, and I was shocked. I absolutely loved this book. I know that there's some controversy about it, saying that the female main character gets annoying or whatnot. It's a fiction book. It's not real life. Like, I don't know, I just don't get offended by books, or I don't take it too seriously. So I absolutely loved this book. This follows the female main character, Elle. She has to write a movie set based in New York, and she's got writer's block. So she decides to move to New York to get the creative flow. That is when she moves into, I think it's her friend's apartment she stays in, and while she's at her friend's apartment, she meets Parker, who is the male main character. He is a tech billionaire and the whole basis on this is a fake dating relationship, and I absolutely love fake dating relationships. I love that moment when they decide, well, when they realise that they're not faking it anymore. So I absolutely love this, would definitely recommend. I'm actually really excited for Alex Astor to write some more romance books, because if it's anything like this one, although I know that the Light Lark series is a young adult romantasy, I've seen, in fact I've pre-ordered, she's bringing out next year a adult romantasy. I'm very excited because her writing in this is incredible. Well, I think it's incredible, so I'm very excited to read all of her other things. Definitely recommend. Another one of my top romance authors is Lucy Score. I love Lucy Score, however I can understand why a lot of people don't pick these books up because they're quite chunky for a romance book. Like, how many pages is this? 483 pages. It is chunky, but I absolutely love her writing. This was probably one of the first romance interconnected standalone series that I read, and I was really upset to start off with because it starts with this book, which is about the female main character Naomi, and the male main character is Knox. Naomi has ran from her wedding day in her wedding dress and all, and she turns up at this town, Knockmount. She goes to Knockmount because her sister lives in Knockmount, and her sister is basically a mess, I'm not gonna lie. But when she gets to Knockmount, she realises that her sister is not there, and her sister has abandoned Naomi's niece, so the sister's daughter. And so Naomi takes in her niece to look after, and she meets Knox. She ends up moving in with Knox because she hasn't got anywhere else to stay. And this book is basically a grumpy ex-sunshine book. So she is all sunshine and rainbows and positivity, and he is miserable. And I've heard a lot of people say they didn't like this book, but I loved it. So I would definitely recommend. And then again, I'm not going to go into too much detail about the other ones because they're interconnected standalones. So I don't want to give anything away from the first book, but I loved it. So yeah, like I was saying, I was a bit nervous because I absolutely loved Naomi and Knox's story. So when I picked up this one, I was like, yeah, great, more of their story. And then I realised it was about two different characters, and I was like, huh? Hang on a minute, I wanted more of their story. However, you still get the other people's stories with it being an interconnected standalone. So these are definitely my favourite Lucy Score books. Definitely recommend. But if you're not into longer books, I probably wouldn't recommend because they are chunky. The next interconnected standalone books that I would recommend, I would especially recommend these to anyone trying to get into romance because they are very easy reads and they are based within the seasons. So if you're a mood reader and, I mean, it's coming up to Christmas time, if you're interested in reading a Christmas book, we've got you covered. So the Christmas, well, actually there's quite a few that's come out. So you've got the Christmas Tree Farm, and then the new one that has come out recently is the Gingerbread Bakery, which I'm assuming is Christmas themed. I mean, if that doesn't scream Christmas at you, I don't know what does. I love these as a mood read kind of thing. I'm not saying that they're the best romance books I've ever read in my whole life. However, they're just easy. They're like smallish books. Like this one, for example, is 342 pages. They're not too thick. And they're just very in theme with the seasons. So if you wanted to read these in order, you're testing my knowledge here. I definitely know that this one came out first, which is the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. Again, I know that a lot of people didn't really like this. However, it's just an easy read. Like, it's cozy. It's not going to be the best romance book you're ever going to read. However, I just think it's cute. So this one is about Jeannie. I want to say it's Jeannie, but you know what I'm like with my pronunciations, guys. And that is the female main character, and then the male main character is Logan. So Jeannie moves into town because her auntie gifts her the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. So she's going to run the Pumpkin Spice Cafe in this little town called Dream Harbour. It's called Dream Harbour. It's just the cutest little thing, isn't it? Dream Harbour, the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, like, it's just cute. This is very autumn. So this is the first book that I read from Laurie Gilmore because it's the first one in the series. I absolutely loved it. So Jeannie meets Logan because he is the local farmer and he provides like pumpkins and stuff for the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. So that is how they meet. I just think it's cute. It's very autumn. Absolutely loved it. And then the next one that I read in the series, I don't know if this is in order, however, I think it is, but correct me if I'm wrong. So the next one is the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. Again, these are all interconnected standalones, so you hear the other characters' stories within the books. So this one is about the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, obviously, and the female main character is Hazel and the male main character is Noah. And I absolutely loved this one because Hazel is working in the bookstore and she notices that someone is leaving clues within the books, and it's kind of like a scavenger hunt, and Noah is helping her do all of the things that the books are telling her to do. I just thought this was such a cute idea. Again, it doesn't really have anything to do with this one, however the characters in this one are in this one, so I really enjoyed that. So that's that one. And then I believe the next one in the series that came out, or the way that I read it, is The Christmas Tree Farm. I didn't really enjoy this one as much, if I'm honest, but the thing is with these books is, well, any book really, is it depends what mood you're in when you're reading it. So there's been a few books that I've read that I've been like, oh, I don't really like it, but is that just because I wasn't in the mood to read it at the time? You know, this wasn't my favourite in the series, however I still got through it. It's a small book, it's Christmas themed, you're reading it for the theme, aren't you guys? So this one is about Kira, who is the female main character, and Bennett, who is the male main character. Kira buys a Christmas tree farm in Dream Harbour, so this is all of these books are set in Dream Harbour, which is like the cutest thing, isn't it? So you've got the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, the Christmas Tree Farm, in Dream Harbour. It's just too cute. So she buys a Christmas tree farm. Bennett actually goes to the Christmas tree farm and ends up being snowed in. So Kira and Bennett both get snowed in to her little house in the Christmas tree farm. And so it's like close proximity. Do you know when you know what you want to say but it just doesn't come out? It was okay. Again, you're reading it for the feels, you know? The next one that I read, again, I'm not sure if this is the correct order, I'm pretty sure this is the order that they came out, is The Strawberry Patch Pancake House. I loved this book. I actually kind of felt that this one was a little bit different from the other ones. I don't know if she tried something new with this one, I'm not sure, but I really, really enjoyed this one. So this one is about a world-renowned chef who is a single dad called Archer. He doesn't particularly want to move to Dream Harbour, however, he ends up running the Pancake House. He's the new chef at the Pancake House and he wants a small cute community to help raise his daughter. So that is why he moves to Dream Harbour. And then the female main character is Iris, and Iris has never been able to hold down a job. So when she sees that Archer is hiring for an in-house nanny, a live-in nanny role, she's like, why not? So she is living in his house looking after his daughter, and that is how they meet, and that's the story. I really enjoyed this one. Also, if you're thinking about reading this series, it is a little bit spicy. I probably should have said this about all the books actually. They've all got a little bit of spice in them. I wouldn't say they were crazy, but they have got a little bit of spice. And I say this because I know that most people are okay with a bit of spice. However, I know that some people absolutely hate it. So these probably aren't the books for you if you absolutely hate anything like that. They do have a little bit of spice. So yeah, absolutely love this one. And then I haven't actually read this one yet. It is The Gingerbread Bakery, which came out, I want to say in October actually, which is really early for a Christmas book. I bought it, however, because it was the Works. Oh, is it focusing? There we are. The Works special edition. So I had to buy it straight away. So I bought it ages ago, but I'm very excited to give it a go. So this one, I'll actually just read what it says because obviously I haven't read it, so I don't actually know. So this says, as owner of her beloved gingerbread bakery, Annie Andrews should have a love life to match her business, sugary and sweet. But instead, she's locked in a battle of wills with the irrationally upbeat bar owner down the street, Mac Sullivan. Max Sullivan has everything he wants except the girl he dreams of. It's easier to argue with Annie than get her to talk to him, but with Jeannie and Logan's wedding coming up, Jeannie and Logan from the first Pumpkin Spice Cafe, see what I mean? This is why they're interconnected standalones. This is why I like to read things in order. But with Jeannie and Logan's wedding coming up, they're about to spend a lot more time together. As the snowflakes fall and with romance in the air, will Annie see that the one she loves to hate might just be her perfect match after all? This one sounds good. Again, like I said, not the best romance books I'm ever gonna read, but cute. You gotta admit they're on theme, you know? Okay, another author that I absolutely love for romance books, however they're absolutely heartbreaking romance books, so be prepared for these ones, I'm not gonna lie, is Tilly Cole. She knows how to write an absolutely heartbreaking romance book. So we'll start with this series. This is actually the second one in the series. I don't have the first one because I borrowed it and I haven't bought it yet, so I actually need to really get on that, because how can I be a book talker slash bookstagram, no, that's not the word, booktuber. I'm getting used to booktube, guys, because this is new to me. I'm a book talker, okay? I've been a book talker for the past 7 months. I'm used to it. Booktube is new to me. It doesn't roll off the tongue. So how can I be a book talker slash booktuber without owning all of the books? This is what I tell myself and my partner and my family when they moan at me for having too many books. The people that get it, the people that don't, you know? So the first one in the series is called 1,000 Boy Kisses, I want to say. The cover looks very much like this one, if I'm honest, and I borrowed it from my mum, and well, she told me that I had to read it, which absolutely love my mum, and I know she's watching this now, so mum, if you're watching, absolutely love you. However, how do I say this nicely? I don't know if I trust your book recommendations 100%. Sometimes you get it spot on, other times we're on different pages, but that's okay because that is what reading is all about. I love that everyone loves different genres and types, and that's the best bit. So yeah, I wouldn't have picked up 1,000 Boy Kisses based on the cover, which looks like this. However, I started reading it and it is heartbreaking. If you want a good cry, pick up a Tilly Cole book, because oh my god, I don't even want to tell you what it's about. I just want you to go in blind and just eat it up, because that's what I did. But Tilly Cole, without giving too much away, writes a lot of stories about terminal illnesses. So as you can imagine, it's heartbreaking. I hate it when your favourite characters pass away or like is dying. It's just awful, but it makes a very, very good book. So yeah, if you want a good heartbreak and you're not triggered by terminal illnesses, because if you are, definitely wouldn't recommend, absolutely fine. If you want to get your heart broken, pick up a Tilly Cole book. So this is the second one in the 1,000 Boy Kisses series, and this is about her sister and her sister recovering from grief, basically. Absolutely loved it. Just as good as the first one, I think. Loved it. And then this is one of her newer ones that she brought out this year, which is Write Me For You. Again, based on terminal illness, so bear that in mind. This is about June, who has got an illness, and she ends up moving to a like retreat to try and help with the illness. She has always wanted to be a writer, and so when she meets Jesse and absolutely falls head over heels with him, he's like, write me for you. Write me for you. Write a romance book of me and you. I just absolutely loved it. But again, be prepared for heartbreak. That's all I'm saying. Do you know what? I actually don't think this author gets enough credit, because her books are incredible, in my opinion. Definitely recommend. I've got so many good authors, it's really hard to pick just a few. Like, I just want to tell you all of them. Okay, I'm gonna cut it to the last romance author, because I'm looking at the time and it's saying 30 minutes, which is a long video. So I'm gonna cut it here, but if you want a part 2 to romance authors that I would 100% recommend, then let me know, because I've still got a lot to get through. A lot of really good ones. So the last person that I'm going to talk about is Rebecca Yarros. I was introduced to Rebecca Yarros through her romantasy series, which was Fourth Wing. I've spoken about this before, loved Fourth Wing, wasn't the biggest fan of the other ones because that's very fantasy. I'd say it's more fantasy than romance. I'm a romance girly, guys. You know. So when I realised that she'd also written romance books, you best believe I was straight on it. So this isn't actually the first romance book that I read of hers. I also read, oh, what was it called? The Things We Leave Unfinished. Oh my goodness. Again, quite heartbreaking stories. So be prepared for tears, potentially. That one, I just love her writing, I'm not gonna lie. It's absolutely incredible. That one was based on two sisters. I can't tell you the characters because I haven't got the book with me, and I'm not good with remembering things, guys. But it was about two sisters who were working within the war, and one of them wanted to be a writer, so she was writing all about her experiences and stuff. I don't want to give too much away because there was quite a big plot twist at the end, but it starts talking about one of the sisters' granddaughters, and oh god, I'm not explaining this very well, am I? The story starts with someone's granddaughter. Their grandparent has passed away now. She was a writer, and she was a very famous writer actually, and she had a book that was left unfinished. So she wanted another author to come in and finish this book. So it flicks back in time from the granddaughter who is trying to get this book finished back to the story of the grandmother in the war. Absolutely loved it. And then my mum picked me up The Last Letter, which I've heard such good things about, and again, it didn't disappoint. I actually was hooked from the very first page. So it starts with Ella, who her brother is currently in the military, and she has asked her brother, is there anyone that is in the military that doesn't really have anyone who would be interested in a pen pal? So her brother says, yes, this guy called Beckett. Although she doesn't know him as Beckett, she knows him as Chaos. So she begins writing him letters to be a pen pal. He at the start is not interested. He's like, I don't need a pen pal. And then suddenly something happens in the military and he's like, do you know what, I really could use someone to talk to. So they start talking through letters, which I just think is the cutest love story ever. Anyway, Ella's brother, I don't even want to give it away, guys, because it's plot twists. I'm not even going to tell you. But anyway, Ella and Beckett / Chaos. Just read it. Thank me later. I feel really bad because I want to explain to you what the books are about, but it just gives everything away, and I want you guys to read it and be like, because that's the best thing about reading. So I'm not gonna explain anything more. Just read it. Thank me later. Okay, guys, that is my romance recommendations. If you're new to romance or you're just looking for a new romance author or book to read. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope it helps in some way. Thank you for making it this far, because I don't have to rant. If you read any of these books or you've read them already, let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know your opinions. And if you are looking for a part 2 on romance authors or romance books that I'd recommend, then let me know, because I also have a lot more that I would recommend. I can also do it in like different genres of romance. So whether that's sport romances or small town romances, or, you know, I can break it down even more for you if you'd like a specific area of romance. I'm your girl, because I love a romance. But thank you for watching. and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys!